Top 5 favorite best weapons across all games, all genres. And I'm going to start off.
Let's do it.
I'm going to go backwards here. Number 5, the laptop gun from Perfect Dark. Where you can just run around, throw it on a wall, and anyone who runs by it will get machine gunned. That was the best part. You throw it up high on the ceiling, and it will reach anyone. That was one of the best guns in that game. Number 4. This is the controversial one, because I don't know if you're going to count it, but I am. The Prism tanks in Red Alert 2.
That's a weapon, that's fair.
So that one, where you could just take an army of Prism tanks into someone's base and shoot one location, and everything would ricochet off one building to the next building to the next building to the next building, setting everything on fire. It was a little overpowered if you got like 10 of them.
But they were, if I remember correctly, they were really vulnerable to any tank and to stuff like. They weren't very good against other armor. They were good against buildings.
They had to be in groups, so it's like Piranha. Like one by itself sucked, but if you had a group of 10, one shot, you would one shot everything.
Yeah, and
everything around it. It was crazy. Next one. I don't think you guys have ever played this game, but it's called 3D Dot Heroes. And in this game, there is a sword you can get that literally... So first of all, the game is like Zelda, but in Minecraft. If those two games had sex, it would be 3D Dot Heroes.
Yeah, it would be a beautiful child.
Yes.
And that's, yes.
So that's what So your main character was like Link, but, you know, block version. And... you get this sword that literally will go across the entire screen. And it's like the width of your character.
You can upgrade it to like Pierce. You go through like all sorts of blocks and just go across the screen. Look it up if you haven't heard of it.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So you would stand in the middle of the screen, spam the attack button, and just spin the joystick. And you would hit literally everything on the screen except maybe the four corners a little bit. It was ridiculous. Let's see, what number am I on?
3, I think.
Nope, that was 3. Okay, so 2. The Rhino 5 from Ratchet and Clank series. This was basically if you took a minigun, put it on a pistol handle, and then it had a bunch of missiles and rockets that would come out of it, and it would play patriotic music. So yeah, you just press the trigger, and it would just shoot like minigun straight forward, and then it had missiles launching in every direction, homing at everything in front of it. You would kill everything in your path. It's also the hardest gun to get in that game. You spend so much money for it, but it is definitely worth it. The music alone, when you pull the trigger, is just ridiculous. And number 1, the termite gun, which I don't think that's the correct name, but from Red Faction Guerrilla Warfare. It's literally...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that gun, you'd shoot it into a wall, and it would just start eating away at the wall and disintegrating anything it's touching. And so, you know, in that game, they made, like, every building collapsible completely, so all, like, the plumbing and everything would fall out and everything. So you'd shoot one thing, and it would start eating away, and it would just start eating away at other areas, and everything would just start collapsing, and buildings would start falling over. If there's people on the floor, they would just fall out. It was the most fun gun to play with in that game, even if like you didn't kill anyone with it.
I forgot about that. I missed the Red Faction, all the destructible stuff. Oh man, so much fun.
Yeah, that was stuff that like that one is still in my memory right now. It's just so fun to just go around shooting random things with that gun.
So I think we picked it up when I was a kid, just randomly for PlayStation. Was it PlayStation 2 or was it earlier?
Yeah, it was 2.
Okay. Yeah, whenever we learned about that thing, man, you do multiplayer and you would burrow tunnels into walls and stuff.
Yeah.
That game's awesome.
Yeah, so with Guerrilla Warfare, they do it in a different route. I don't think you could do that to walls and stuff, but you could do it to any building. Yeah. So all the buildings were like that, and all the fortifications and everything like that.
I think 2 years ago, I bought the entire Red Faction, the whole series, for $12 on PC.
Yeah.
It was great. All right, who's next?
Let's just go. Yeah, let's go Brandon here since he's all.
Okay, at number 5, I've got the friendship ending blue shell from the Mario Kart series. How many times have you been in first and you worked so hard to get in first place, and then of course some jerk behind you has to use the blue shell.
No skill, just throw that blue shell out.
But if you're in last place and you're using the blue shell, then it's perfectly legitimate. So I had to put that somewhere on the list, but it had to be number 5 because I care a lot more about some of these others, like the Hadouken for the Street Fighter series, because where would any fighting game be without projectiles? I think just about all of them have some kind of projectile. And it's not a fireball. Hadouken means wave motion fist. So little backstory there on that.
Trivia fact.
Yeah, that's right.
Brandon the trivia master.
Number 3 is my favorite weapon from the Contra series, the spread gun. Oh yeah. I would love to, on the NES is just how like the little pellets would just like get bigger by the end of the screen and just demolish the bosses. It's just such a good thing. But I was really at odds with my last two because I could have went one or the other. But 2 is the Metal Blade from Mega Man 2. Pretty much as soon as you get it, you want to replace your default weapon with Metal Blade. Metal Blade's just so sweet and it sounds so cool when you use it. Just looks like a giant buzzsaw blade that just goes across the screen, and you can fire it in 8 directions, unlike the standard weapon, which is just straight across. And my number 1 is the Holy Water from the Castlevania series. And there's a certain reason I picked that, because it seems on the surface kind of generic, but the bosses in the very first Castlevania game are usually in everybody's top list of hardest boss fights ever. And I don't think a lot of people realize that if you have the Holy Water, you can basically spam Holy Water and make any boss fight in that game so much easier. Like the Grim Reaper is usually like everybody's top list. It's so ridiculously hard, and it can be. But if you have Holy Water and when he spawns on the Holy Water, he doesn't do anything and he just dies. It's pretty awesome. I want to make a video of that and show it because people always talk about it's so hard. Yeah. Otherwise, it is a hard boss fight. But if you do that, then it's cake. So that's why I have to put it at number 1.
Steve.
Alrighty, Steven. All right, we'll start easy. And this one, I don't like to put it on because it's almost a gamer shame, but I had to because how much I enjoy using them. Pokeballs in the Smash series. Anybody who's good at Smash apparently really hates the Pokeballs because they can turn the tide with 0 skill, which is probably why I like it. My brother-in-law Kyle's really good at it, and he hates the Pokeballs because it's about the only way I get any damage on him ever, because he just ruins my world. But I just love it. You get that thing, you're so excited, you throw it down, and a freaking Goldeen or something stupid comes out, and you're like you risk your life, and you get like 50% damage just to get that stupid thing.
Chansey.
Stupid Chansey, the star one, I forget the name of it, or Meowth. Meowth is worthless. Those are all like 64 versions.
Goldeen.
Yeah. And on the Wii U Smash, there's just a ton of different ones. But I love playing with Pokeballs on there. It's just so crazy because it can turn it so quickly. That's why I like it. And my next one comes from a real-time strategy game, like one of Rich's, the Cobra Car from Age of Empires 2. All you guys play that before? Any of you guys play it?
No.
Oh man! All right, Age of Empires 2 it's medieval style game, real-time strategy. So there's a lot of cheats for it to get your materials and stuff like that. Like you would get Robin Hood would give you gold, and I think it was like Jimmy John or something like that would give you food. Well, there was one that's called "How do you turn this thing on?" was the cheat, and it gave you a Shelby Cobra car with a machine gun, and it would. Because there's like blunderbusses in the game, so the game is set at the very beginning of Firearms, so there's not really a lot of them. But it just gets this Cobra car just screams across. Now you can spawn as many as you want, and they whenever I was a kid, I played it. I was pretty decent at the game, but there'd be times where I just get so fed up. I'm like, screw this! I'm about to kill all you guys, and I just call in like 10 of these things, spawn them, and they would just go around, just sweep the map. I love those things. So the next one is going to be the plasma grenade from Halo.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Oh
that's a good
man!
one.
Like I didn't play a lot of Halo back in the day. I've got the Master Chief Collection I'm working through right now, and I'm having a lot of fun. But even back in the day, I swear there was nothing more satisfying than sticking someone with a plasma
That was the first sticky grenade,
Yeah,
I think.
the first one that I know of.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
God,
So
you tried. Who does it? Like you literally never throw a plasma grenade just to throw it. You throw it to stick something.
Sure.
And whenever the best part's when you stick them on the heel or something. Or you stick them as they're running towards their friend and you get the double kill. Like,
or you throw it, you die, and it still sticks him and kills him from the grave.
I love that's why I love the plasma grenade.
It's a good one.
Then the next one is actually the F-18 airstrikes in Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
Oh yeah.
Just because I have a thing with with airstrikes and stuff like that. Fighter aircraft coming in low. It's really cool. I mean, you guys know I was in the Army before, and I've actually been part of F-18 airstrikes before, and it's just a really, really crazy thing. And then to be able to play them in the game. Plus, it actually took skill to hit those things. In Call of Duty 4, it was not an overpowered kill streak. You actually had to know where they were at. You would stack up with your UAV, so you call them the UAV, so you know where they're at, and you could use your airstrike, and you knew, it took a few seconds to come in. So if you got skilled, you would still be good. And if not, you'd always see that person who called an airstrike in a completely irrelevant part of a map. But it was a lot of fun because it did take skill, and it was so much fun to use. And my last one is the proximity mines in GoldenEye. I was the world's biggest freaking little terrorist in that game. Because here's a lot of things. Here's something not a lot of people know about the game GoldenEye and the proximity mines. There's a tactic to these things. The proximity mine, the little ammo crates that you could pick up proximity mines, pick up other stuff, the little green ones. If you throw a proximity mine, they have a timer before they're activated because they would kill anyone who got close. But there's a timer. It's a few seconds. So what you do is you can throw a proximity mine on the ammo box, pick up the ammo box really quick. When it regenerated with the proximity mine inside the box. There's no way of knowing it's there or not. I IED'd every map I could. People hated it. Because people who didn't know my playstyle, I'm like, oh, dude, you guys want to do proximity mines? Like, oh yeah, that'd be fun. Sure. And I would and I think you could only have a couple out at a time. I know I couldn't just do all of them, but I would definitely go find the ones where I knew people were going to go, and I would just IED the crap. And then the other trick with the proximity mines is in library where you can go upstairs or downstairs. There's those graded parts of the floor. You can stick it underneath, and the proximity mine is gray, and so is the floor, and it will blow up. If you stick it underneath, it'll still blow up people on top. So you can't see a mine. There's nothing showing a mine there. So I got really good with proximity mines. And I love playing those things. I put enough time in GoldenEye with those. It had to be definitely real high on my list. So.
Cool. So Brandon, number 5, we actually share for the blue shell.
All right.
Racing games, I will admit, I am horrible at them. I'm not a fan of them, and I know when I start a racing game, I'm not going to win. So my generally philosophy when in the game is if I know I'm not going to win, I'm going to at least screw someone over.
Yes, that's the whole point in Mario Kart.
Martyrdom racing.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was usually my favorite power up there. Number 4 was Mr. Saturn from Super Smash.
Oh, okay.
Really, almost everyone, my friends hated items, but Mr. Saturn was the one that we could always play with.
Refresh my memory, Mr. Saturn.
He's like the little
guy from Earthbound.
The walking puffball. He just walks and you throw him at someone. That's all he does.
Yeah, that's right.
And I don't think he even causes that much damage. It's just kind of...
Well, he absorbs damage, and then once you hit him, then he gets more damage when you throw it on people.
Yeah.
So, number 3, similar to yours, Steven, but in general, Pokemon. Technically, Pokemon are a weapon.
Ooh, is that going to be a weapon?
Which one?
You got to pick a Pokemon.
I have to pick a Pokemon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's like saying gun.
Fine.
Fist.
I like gun.
A gun is a weapon.
Okay, fine. Magikarp. Magikarp.
Weapon.
Yep.
You know what? That one, Magikarp is an exercise in patience and frustration.
It is.
Because the only way to level them is to throw them out there and then bring them back and throw someone else.
Around. I like the level 100 Magikarp myself. It was like one game you could catch a level 100 and he would never evolve. I didn't think he knew splash and tackle. He actually knew tackle, so that was a plus. So number 2, probably a stereotypical one, Master Sword from The Legend of Zelda.
Almost was on my list.
Yeah.
I understand.
I've got at least shout out to that because that's probably one of the first series I ever started playing.
Yeah.
If it had been taken, I was going to choose Kokiri Sword just for the sake of it. And then number 1, someone guessed it before the podcast, is the Keyblade.
It was actually the Keyblade.
That almost made it on the list.
You know, I mean, honestly, it's a pretty awesome weapon when you think about it. It's just a key that you, quite honestly, they're always hitting with the blunt end, but it somehow seems to act as a sword. I don't know. But fun fact about the Keyblade is it almost did not exist in this series. Originally, when Square Enix was thinking up the concept of this game, or probably Tetsuya Nomura, he actually wanted to make it a Sora, like a monkey kid, like a kid with like a monkey tail and kind of had monkey features. And the Keyblade was actually a sword with a chainsaw on it.
Oh yeah,
What?
I remember that.
So Disney.
That'd be kind of awesome. Am I the only one who thinks it'd be kind of sweet?
We all do.
I just don't think that would fit that game. Though.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't.
Disney,
the key theme, the whole key. You know, how would you get?
Disney wasn't too crazy about combining their Disney characters with that, so they made them tone it down a little bit. And
It's like the Army of Darkness, but with Mickey Mouse.
I'd play that.
they settled on Sora and the Keyblade. So
That's solid.
Fun
I like
fact
that
there.
one.
So they just made up some kind of Mad Lib game.
what?
Some kind of Mad Lib game.
Mad
Pick
Lib
two
game
nouns.
that ended up working very well.
Hey, yeah,
Disney character, Final Fantasy character, Key, Blade,
Banana.
Banana, Heartless, Nobodies.
Nobody knows.
All right, so I'll finish it up here. The top 5 weapons. Number 5, I have the sword and shield from Team Fortress 2. The demo man had the sword and shield, so it was like an option you could unlock. And there's just nothing more satisfying than, because the shield allowed you to charge, and then the sword obviously you could chop with it. But in a mostly ranged game, to charge through, you know, people are shooting you, charge them, you hit them with the shield, and then you chop their head off, and just watch them as their head falls and they die. It's just so satisfying. Number 4, I have the Gallarhorn from Destiny. So it was my first exotic weapon. It was like the most OP rocket launcher that they had, and it was still like, even after the expansions, people still wanted
I think people are still trying to get it.
Yeah, people are still trying to get it. It would just like 2-shot most bosses and just wreak havoc on everything. Number 3, I had the Nirvana from Final Fantasy X. So that was Yuna's special weapon, or her ultimate weapon. And it made all of her MP cost 1. It did the limit break, the damage break, all of that. So you could just spam your summons, you could spam all of your holy, all your spells, just like constantly. Number 2, I have the Assassin's Blade from Assassin's Creed 2 specifically, although I know they had it in 1, but 2, I just remember going around trying to assassinate all of the major guys, and then using it for counters constantly. So it was like a really small window you had to counter with the Assassin's Blade, but it would one-shot anything if you countered it, just stab them in the throat. So, and then number 1, the Holy Hand Grenade from Worm series.
Nice.
So,
Wait, is that from Worms or is that Monty Python?
I don't know which came first, but specifically Worms, though, throwing that out and just watching it just destroy half the stage and everything in its path was satisfying. And just, hallelujah, before it blew up was so satisfying. So, those are my picks.
Sweet.
I'll get before we sign off, is there any honorable mentions anyone wants to throw out there?
I wanted to throw out
I got 2 myself, so go ahead, Brandon.
I wanted to throw out the critical conference call that we talked
Yup.
about. Oh man, that critical conference call in Borderlands 2. Even when it was nerfed, it is still the weapon you want to use. I still use it, especially with like a V shield. It's still like one of the top weapons after all the patches, all the updates. Yeah.
You want to explain what it is?
Oh, I'll let you do that. I think you explain it better than I do.
So yeah, it's basically a shotgun that shoots 26 bullets or something like that. Those bullets all split into a number of bullets, and then when they hit something, they also split up even more bullets from there. So you can just do a ridiculous amount of damage with it. You can take out the final boss in like 2 shots or 1 shot or something like that. But I forgot what the B shield did with it. It's been a while.
B shield is just amp shield. So it's the best amp shield you can get. Like the greater your shield capacity is, and as long as you have a full shield, basically your first shot will just destroy any boss with the conference call.
So
Even after all the nerfs, it's still like the best thing to use.
That was ridiculous. My honorable mention was that, but I also have the Fulton Recovery rocket launcher from Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know how much you guys know about how ridiculous Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker is, or any Metal Gear for that matter, but Peace Walker had this concept of Fulton Recovery where you attach a balloon to a person and you would kidnap them and force them to work in your mother base after you interrogate them. Well, that wasn't enough and wasn't ridiculous enough, so as you play the game, you unlock these different things, and one of them became a rocket launcher that, when you shoot it, explodes into a cloud of dust, and anyone in that dust gets a balloon attached to them automatically, and then they get kidnapped from that point and sent to your mother base. So you can kidnap like 5 people at a time if you wanted to, as long as they're close enough together to be in that little dust cloud, and you can shoot it from across the screen.
Right.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I had one that I didn't know if I could put on my list. The portal gun from Portal. Technically not a weapon in that it doesn't hurt anyone, but
tool.
I think we would allow
it's a
it.
tool.
We would allow. I mean, you could throw like a block through it and get some physics going, and then hurt someone that way.
Yeah,
I mean,
you kill the turrets basically using.
I don't think you kill the turrets though. You just knock them over, and then you they're already very depressed. They make me a little bit sad when I have to knock them over. But
you say sorry.
Sorry.
I don't blame you.
I mean, I guess if you put a portal in front of one of those guys and they shoot, and you put a portal in front of someone else, you can kill them.
That's a valid point.
So, I mean, it could be used as a weapon. Or you can beat someone with it, if you want to.
A blunt object.
Yeah.
I suppose.
I mean,
but I don't think the game's intended to be played like that. But
All right.
All right, so is that Game Scrum signing off?
So
Yep, that's what we got for this one.
All right, thanks everybody.
go watch Big Trouble in Little China. You'll see Mortal Kombat.
Every week, Brandon will give you new homework to do.
Yes.
All right, thanks everyone.